Elite Assembly. Step up and see flash, it's the ToyLeet crew. We're the kings of the game, yeah, the chosen few. From the shadows we rise with the rarest finds. Collect them, respect them, we're one of a kind. ToyLeet, reign the streets. Elite with the feats in this collectible feast. ToyLeet, never the street. We're the heart of the beat, where our play makes me. Check our stacks, our collection supreme. Limited editions, every collector's dream. We're the myths, we're the legends, with every drop. Taking over the block, we never stop. In the alleys where the echoes play. ToyLeet's the name, hear what we say. Rising, thriving, always vibing. In our realm we're always dropping. ToyLeet, bring the street, the lift ToyLeet, setting the pace. With a snap of the case and a click of the lock, ToyLeet's on top and we're ready to rock. Collecting more than just toys, we're up. We're up. We're up. ToyLeet, never the street, we're the heart of the beat, where our play makes me. We're the tree, we're the ToyLeet, what's the throne? Cause in this zone, we never admit defeat. Come for the thrill, stay for the chase. ToyLeet's in the place, set in the pace.
Hi.
Yo.
Welcome to A Punk with Toys. My name is Lawrence. Wrong show.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, 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 money. Here comes the
While
money.
you're playing that, we
You wait
started
for us.
9:05. So
And
we
you wait
started
for us?
on time.
And you wait for us because you ain't us.
That's right.
He's at Akxion Figs,
And he's Mr. Wonderful Travis,
and together we are
the ToyLeet.
awesome. So thanks for jumping in, guys. We appreciate everyone watching us live, and for those watching us on the replay, we appreciate you too. Don't forget to hit those buttons and do those things. But you know, we are the ToyLeet. We are two dudes who love our plastic. The passion that we share is action figures. On this channel, we typically talk about a lot of independent toy lines. We don't focus on your Hasbros and your Mattels. We'll talk about them occasionally, talk a little bit about them. A lot of our main topics that we cover a lot of the larger known brands and some of the history and different things around that. But mostly what we like to do is cover, you know, what our current, you know, focus is, which is a lot of the independent toy lines and the adjacent comics, shows, you know, relatable things that is driven by the individuals within the community. We really enjoy that. It's somewhere we like to spend our dollars. And if you want to listen to someone rant for 3+ hours, Monday after Monday, you can always check out Mr. Money, Punk with Toys, over on his show. There's a number of other guys that do it. I cannot think of his name. Art. Unboxing Art does a Wednesday night show. He talks about a lot of the current mainline products. They both cover some of the more independent lines too, but they do a really good job of talking about the mainline Mattels and Hasbros every week. So check those guys out if you're looking to hear us talk about, you know, the current news, the current items within the independent toy line communities. This is the place to go. We have a slow news week this week though, for sure, Ed. But we love to talk about that stuff. We'll get to that. We have our normal our topics, the ToyLeet or Toilet, which is a segment where we talk about a toy line. This week's is very interesting, to be honest. And whether it stands the test of going on your shelf, or if you're calling the plumber because you clogged your toilet, flushing that shit down.
Oh, you're going to review Punk for the Toilet or ToyLeet? That's nice of you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was easy. I mean, I just picked
He'll
him up
fit on your shelf.
Oh, fit on
And
the
down your
shelf.
toilet.
He'll definitely go down with these in the toilet.
Yeah.
So, you know. But yeah. So, Ed, how's it going, man?
Dude, I tell you, I'm exhausted. I have not recovered from Joe Fest weekend, and then it's just been grinding and grinding and grinding since then. So it's just like I'm looking for a vacation from my vacation because I
Absolutely.
either
man.
A, drank way too much, which is a possibility, or B, I had way too much fun, which is a definite possibility. So,
Yep.
but other than that, I'm
Yeah,
doing
I
great,
hear-
man. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. I'm exhausted myself. Trying to eat better and do a bunch of stuff to drop a few pounds before people see me out in public again. You know, at one of these conventions, been trying to eat a little bit better. My daughter and I both started on she's just doing it to get get herself back
Yeah.
ready for her, next season for cheer. Being a competitive cheerleader, she wants to, get better for that and compete. So I told her that we could do this little,
Yeah. Helps if you
75
got
days
someone to
of
partner with for sure.
what's that?
I said it helps if you got someone to partner with to help you.
Yeah, help keep
stay
each
on
other
task and all that. Yep.
keep each other honest and keep driving forward.
Yep.
So, working on that. But that and work has just been exhausting. And when I say work, I'm talking all sides of it: self-inflicted work, my 9 to 5, and then just with a short week because we got the holiday. God bless America. And all
Right.
that.
America!
On
Fuck
Thursday. I say that as I'm getting ready to get up and get out of the country for
Right.
for a
What are you
few
doing
days.
for 4th of July? Going to Toronto.
Right. Gonna go get out of the United States.
Right.
Go visit the brother.
Well,
of
those
the-
Canadians are really nice. Those snow Mexicans, as Punk calls them.
Yeah, we're gonna go up there, and we got a Blue Jays game we're gonna be checking out on Thursday, and then going to Money in the Bank to see the WWE, which I'm really excited for.
How long does it take you to get into Canada from where you're at?
I think I just looked it up today, and it says about 5.5 hours from where I am.
Oh wow, that's not.
Yeah, so we're gonna leave tomorrow evening. We're gonna head out. We're gonna head that way out west.
So are you going to head east and then, or head west and then cut up over?
Yeah,
Right.
we're gonna go out towards Niagara, and we're
Yeah.
gonna cut up and go that way, but try to get towards like the Batavia area tomorrow.
Yep.
So that way on Thursday, because it's a 1:00 game, we can get in there without having to wake up too early to try to make that haul.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, man. So that's my thing. And then next week I got some travel for work. So I'll get back from Toronto, and then I'm gonna be in the city for a couple days. So I think you might have a special guest next week to stop in the show.
Right.
More about
We
that.
have a
right?
special guest coming in next week.
Awesome. Yeah, man. Did you get any pickups this week?
Yes. Well, no, I did not this week. Well,
Okay.
I got some cool stuff at Joe Fest that I didn't get to show off last week because I just got my bag in from Rob of some.
Oh yeah. Hey,
some of my things.
huge shout out to Teflon, man.
Yeah.
Dude got my package here in faster than hella dope time. It was here within 24 hours.
So this is the wristband that everybody got to go into Joe Fest, just so
let me,
in case anybody wants to see it. Just says Joe Fest 2024. It's got
Tiger
the
Force style.
the tiger stripe, yeah, and then
Yeah.
it says VIP on the back. So that was one thing I got. I finally got myself a Wraith Mace patch.
Oh, that is
Got-
awesome.
Yeah, it's got the Velcro on it.
That
He gave
is
these
cool.
out when he did paintball and stuff. So I can't remember which one of the guys at Joe Fest had a bunch of them, but
Oh
they
man.
gave me one because I haven't had one from Wraith yet. And then my good buddy, really cool guy, not at all what I thought he was, but and that in the best way possible. I thought he was a little shorter, a lot shorter, and Wilhelm is actually a really tall dude. So, but he made these collector's boxes. They're just cardboard, but it's got like the Joe Fest 2024 with his Wilhelm Toy and Hobby on the lid.
Nice.
And then on the inside, he just has like little separators, so you can fit with little foam pieces. So you can fit like 6 1/18 scale figures.
Nice.
I mean, you could probably fit 12 if you double layered them. But yeah. So Wilhelm gave me that, and then Rob showed this off last week on the show.
Oh, is this
He
going to be
got
your
it.
little belt clip?
But
Yep.
this is the thing from Plastic Fantastic on Instagram. I can't think of his YouTube name because he uses a different name on YouTube. But really awesome 3D printed stuff. He handed these out to a bunch of people. I don't know how many he made, but
That looks clean. He's using a pretty impressive
dude, I'll
printer.
send you his IG if you haven't seen it yet. He actually made a the pit from GI Joe, which is like a 5 or 6 story like fortress, and he's building a Cobra Terradrome, including the airplane that goes inside there, which I don't remember either because that was way past my time. But
Gotcha.
anyway, this is modeled after the 3 3/4 inch had one. You know, it just clipped over your belt, so you could take 3 of your figures everywhere you went. You know, so it was a really cool thing back in the day. So that was cool. And then AWOC gave away AWOC hammers. I did not get one with a red dot, so I did not win a prize.
Gotcha. You know, I'm loving that.
I had 3 of those bad boys and still didn't win a prize. I think it was rigged against me.
Yeah, Jason, I messaged him. I said, Jay,
I figured it was you. As soon as I walked up there, they said, "Oh, you're Akxion Figs that works with Mr. Wundrful, right?" I was like,
right.
Yeah, and they're like, "Okay, just want to make
sure."
And
I basically
pulled this
him,
out of the bag and said, "You get this one." So
I told him that. I actually told him, I said, Jay, I said, do me a favor. If Akxion doesn't show up dragging a Canadian that has his mouth wired shut from being super kicked by Punk over to the table, he gets no red axe. He gets no red hammer. So
and that's what happened. So
that's how it goes down. Yeah, man. That's cool. I got some gets myself, dude.
What'd you pick up, brother?
I got first I still got my shadow slates from Savage Crucible that I haven't opened. Those are in a box downstairs. Just been so busy. I also have a box from Helidope, a huge package, as I alluded to last week, full of some Cosmic Legions, which brings me to wanting to remind folks that if you haven't already got your 1, 2, 3 waves of Cosmic Legions, Helidope right now is running a special with 20% off. So I don't know when it ends, Ed. You probably do, right?
I believe, I don't know the exact date, but it's sometime in August, I believe.
Okay, so they're running a special right now, 20% off, and it's not just the older Cosmic Legions; it's the most current, wave that they recently released.
So anything in stock, Book 1, Book 2, and Outpost Zaxxas, which is the latest.
Okay,
all that stuff is 20% off. So
those that are waiting to get. What's that?
I said, if you're looking for Cosmics and even as fodder, good time to grab them, right? I mean, 20%.
Yeah, if you're looking for Scourge, I know folks are big fans of his. I mean, if you can get that for 20% off, that's damn near the cost of what they were paying right off the rip for Scourge if you went directly through Four Horsemen. So definitely go check out Helidope and snag all that. August 31st, all waves of Cosmics. Get your Cosmics. I wish I could sell my Cosmics, but I guess I'm going to be stuck with them now because I can't sell them for less than I paid. And I guess I'm
it is August 31st, and it's for all waves of Cosmic. Yep, exactly.
Great.
And Helidope has quite the selection still in stock. So
that's awesome.
Jump on over there and pick yourself up some Cosmics. Cool figures. Did a couple of videos with them, and Ted got probed and got the
Hawk Twa.
Yeah.
I'm going to spit on it.
So, got to spit on that thing.
But I did get a couple other things. This is going back to our whole point, right? Like we talked about earlier, that we not only do action figures, but we do action figure adjacent. So I do have a couple things that to me are action figure adjacent. I picked this up, was stopped into the dollar store or Family Dollar.
You found one?
What's that?
I said you found one?
Oh, you looking for this?
Every time I go to the dollar store, I've always looked for the comic. My Dollar Tree has never had the comic book.
Oh, they had like 4 of them. I'll grab one next time for you.
All right, cool.
Yeah, my son likes to he likes to take the 1/18 scale figures and stuff from Final Faction and some of the other Walmart.
Those are cool little figures for what they
are.
He
likes to use them in the pool. Sometimes he takes them in the pool.
25 can't go wrong.
Exactly. And I don't worry about him, it getting ruined being in the pool water and stuff. So he has those. My son must have stole my other comic, but I got a couple more. But I got Conan the Barbarian number 10 and 11 now. So I've got
that cover again.
Oh, this one right here.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, really pumped to read this one.
Yeah.
I also have number 11 here. It's not zooming in properly. Sorry.
It's just got a little glare on it. That's all.
There we go.
The Conan covers are always so friggin' cool looking.
Yeah, I mean, I have not read it, but I will be checking these out. I'm probably going to pack these in my bag for the trip. So that way, downtime. But I got those. I also got the new Planet of the Apes comic at the store too. And there may have been one other. Oh, and I don't have it because it's in my bedroom. I also picked up the Fist. I didn't. You, Ed, picked up the Fist comic for me while you were at Joe Fest, and our buddy Teflon was able to mail it out to me. So I did get that.
Did you flip through it by any chance yet?
I started reading it. It's definitely interesting to me. I only got like 3 pages in and I passed out, but I'll finish it
The
up.
cover looked really cool. How's the artwork? I didn't want to open it up and crease it or anything on you. So
I mean, you know, there is nothing wrong with you should have. I didn't care. That was more for pleasure reading. I'm not looking to necessarily.
It's all good, man.
You know, mint that one. But
I didn't want to read it before you did. You know, I mean,
I wouldn't have cared.
That's just not right.
It wouldn't have bothered me. But yeah, no, I appreciate that, dude. So yeah, I got that, and that was it. Why don't we hit up the chat real quick because it seems like it's popular.
Yeah, let's hit up the chat. So number 1, because she's our favorite person, our favorite Mrs. Black Knight, since this is her favorite show. Good evening, Mrs. Black Knight, the true boss of HellaDopeToys.com.
Thank you, Mrs. Black.
And we got Roll Keeper in the house. Hello, ToyLeets.
So Ed, Roll Keeper, legit, dude. Remember what he told us on last week's episode?
Yeah.
I connected with that dude on Facebook, and it's legit. Like what he said is factual. He's good at keeping secrets.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, at least that's the vibe I got from Facebook.
Yeah, I kind of believe it because I think some people spilled the beans to other people they confide in, but everybody was just kind of threatened to secrecy.
Yeah.
David R's in the house. Hello all. What's up, David? And our one good buddy, Trust a Screamer, or True Star Creamer, or True Star Screamer, whatever one you want to call him. He goes by all 3. B ToyLeet, BB ToyLeet, Super Toy Party. Thank you, Trust a Screamer, for stopping in. And Terrence, who I had the
I like that.
What?
I like that. Hold on. Can we go back to that comment from True Star Screamer?
Yeah.
Super Toy Party. I like that. It's almost like the Super Kick Party, but it's Super Toy. I'm definitely digging that.
We can work that into a song. We can work that.
That's going.
Yeah.
Super Toy
Thank
Party.
you, Trust a Screamer. You get no royalties, but you get a nice big thank you. Terrence St. John, who I did get a picture with at Joe Fest.
I refer to him as TSJ.
That's right. Saw Terrence and I was like, dude, why are your arms empty? Your arms are never empty. He's like, just loaded up the car on my way back for more. So
well, he doesn't have I think I saw him post pictures like in the last week or so of his time there, and I'm pretty sure he brings like one of those big.
He brought a wagon.
That I would. Yeah, he brings like a wagon that I would normally use in my yard to move like logs and stuff if I needed to move a bunch.
Yeah. Terrence told a good story about that on the clubhouse Saturday night about how security tried to stop him and everything, and he's like, "Dude, come on."
Dude is moving bricks, man.
That's right. And of course, he's shopping for like everybody and their brother, not just himself. So necessary. Yep. Punk says, "You wish you were me."
Here we go. Money talk.
And we got house. Right. What's the series? Aaron says, "ToyLeet, where all the shit goes down." That's right.
I like that. That's actually another great T-shirt.
Remember, hitting that like button increases your time in bed by 15%. The hashtag over 40. Better hit it twice. I'm in the hashtag over 50 club, man. And yes, hit that again, would you please?
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money.
Just so everybody knows, he's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, right there.
And he's not afraid to remind. He's not afraid to remind you of that.
Right there. Hey, Ozman.
Ozman in the house. Thank you, Oz, for stopping in, brother. Always good to see you. Let's see who else we. Oh, we got Rolando Flores. What's up, Rolando? Anybody from New York probably remembers that, right? Did you guys remember Yolanda Vega when she used to do the lottery on the news?
Yep.
That was my favorite part of the whole lottery show. Just the way that guy introduced her. Oh, so that Plastic Fantastic made 40 of those that he gave out. 40 of those boat clip things. That's pretty wild.
Gotcha.
And thank you again, Trust a Screamer. The Firebat was the jet that was inside the Terradrome. And yes, Terrence, that is a crazy sale. And here we have the Derek Hoover of yesterday's podcast. Just got Pee-wee to sleep. Hello, everyone. And Ted, bruh, what's up? And let's see who else
hopefully
we got.
Ted is hopefully Ted is packing and licking boxes as we speak.
Right. We got The Northern Nomad in the house. Hey, suckers.
What's up, brother?
And we have Joe G hanging out with us. What's up, Joe? And I think we got this guy here. I don't know what the hell he's doing in our chat. This little bastard here, man. I tell you, this guy's all over the place. You think he goes on live enough? I don't know.
He's on like
Hey,
once a week.
Terrence
Maybe.
remembers.
I remember.
Terrence remembers Lolanda Vega. Thank you, Terrence. That's awesome.
Awesome. So,
And Rose remembers Yolanda too. So good. I'm not the only one. And yes, Lawrence, you are kind of a big deal. Said in Ron Burgundy's voice.
play the next one.
I don't lick them anymore. I hit them with the hawk claw. That's right. He learned that from the aliens.
That makes sense. That makes total sense there. Good dude.
All right, we ready to do the next segment there? Something
would that
going
be
up,
the,
something going down.
Is
God,
that-
if you have a weak stomach, you may stop right here. Anybody hungry?
Dude,
So-
cleaned your toilet. My God.
yeah, that was
action figure remnants all over that thing.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. So this week, I bring to you a review of a toy that I had a lot of promise for. And I still have promise. So I do want to preface the ToyLeet one. This one's getting a definite flush. Like, and I say that because I'm just not there yet. That said, we're all about the independent toy creator. I'm going to keep these. Obviously, I'm not getting rid of them. But we got the fist action figures, right? And I'm not trying to bag on Don, man. He does great sculpts. He does great, box art. Everything's really cool. From what I can tell with the lore, which is a huge thing for me, is awesome. However, these toys, they're not what I would expect. So there's just, I don't know if it's the way that it was tooled, for like the butterfly joints and whatnot. The weapons are very loose. I will say some pros I want to point out. I love the swappable, gun holster. Like they have all these parts that, remove from the body, and they have these little peg holes where you can apply things similar to maybe the Cosmic Legions and stuff.
Yep.
So you can do that. The guns are there's very few of them that I found that I liked. Most of them are more gummy in my experience than any G.I. Joes that I've seen. The head sculpts are really cool, but even as cool as they are, there leaves a little bit to be desired. Some of the things that bother me are when I look underneath the chin and I see like plastic. And what this all comes down to is a couple pieces, and it's very much like that with all of the figures. I will say that the monster orc looking ones have a little bit better look to them and whatnot, but even the thigh joint on here.
How loose are your thigh joints?
What's that?
How loose are your thighs if you shake the figure like this? Because I know that was one of the things that Lawrence had a problem. Yeah.
Well, I mean, this one, this leg popped off when I was taking
so
out
did Lawrence's though.
So and you can see there's a gap on the thigh.
Yeah. I wonder if they need to
I like thigh gap on my wife. I don't need it on my figure.
Yeah, I wonder if they just need to clean up their articulation cuts.
Yeah, I wonder.
There's some other issues, right? I told you right from the get-go, as soon as I opened my Mad Dog, that I had to heat up his hands and squish them together, so they held the guns.
And I think maybe it has to do with, and again, I can't speak for Don. I'd love to talk to him more. But does really cool, the boots, they have really cool detail to them.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed with it. The armor, it looks cheap. And the best way I can explain it is I think of the 90s, back when I would collect Power Rangers, and you would go to the convenience store next door and you bought the knockoff, version of one of those Power Rangers, and they had a diamond on their face instead of the Mighty Morphin characters from the 90s. So my camera's having a hard time zooming in on.
Oh, it's all good, man. Yeah.
But
there's a lot of cool detail on them. One of the things I saw immediately was that my web gear or chest thing on Mad Dog was excessively loose, right? Had it been a little bit tighter, would have been a lot cooler, right?
Yeah. The guns,
but Esteban said he'd come on and talk to us anytime. All we got to do is message him. So if we really want to talk to him,
he's a good guy. And what I will say is I'm definitely giving this wave a flush. But if this is the bottom of the figure quality, it's
Yeah.
it can only go up from here. I can't
Yeah, exactly.
if they improve it. And what I will also chop up to here is that support them, check them out. I personally would not buy Wave 1 again, but I will if I find out from Wave 2 that they've done some adjustments. I'll give them another run. Hell, I'll give a Wave 3 because as long
Yeah.
as they're incrementally increasing it, because I do know that they're having them produced in a facility that is not the standard, and that's
Right.
one of the big pieces for me. Is the
I think
price
the other
point.
thing though is that, you know, people got to tell Esteban, you know, that there's issues.
They
Be
can't
cool
just pat him
about
on
it,
the
right?
back. Great
Don't
job.
just don't say great job and don't tear it apart because they're not the worst figures I've ever had, right? By
And
far.
And that's exactly what I want to point out. That's why I had a hard time with this one because this is an independent toy line. I don't want to crap on somebody's dream. I love this. I love that he brought it to life. I think the characters have a ton of potential. I think the line has a ton of potential.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
even like the monsters' weapons are a hell of a lot better than the humans' weapons and whatnot. So like there's some like even just there was improvement. But the molding and stuff, he's done a great job in the detail. There's a lot of articulation. But I wonder if he needs to work on the way the articulation points and how he handles a butterfly joint. And I guess
I think he just needs to go
real
back and
butterfly
like
joint.
recut in the articulation, maybe a little bit less
Yeah.
tolerance, and you know, maybe in different places because like my butterfly joints were stiff as hell. I couldn't even move them.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it, and that's the thing. I don't even know if there's a real butterfly joint. And it's
I
just
don't
the
know
way he has
either. I didn't want to push it, so
the shoulder. So it just leaves quite a bit to be desired. So with that said, like I will still grab a Wave 2 if I find that he's working on a few different alterations to the molds and how he's doing it. But you know, the biggest thing for me here is when I look at this, I love the idea that he's doing this in where is he doing it? Colombia. So this is like, and I mean, I didn't follow toys long enough to know if there's a ton of manufacturers producing stuff out of there. But from my understanding, it's like really one of the first times, or, you know, obviously they're producing something in those factories, but just maybe not the experience in something so detail expected.
Well,
They've
also
done a great job.
lot of the factories down in Colombia that were producing toys were producing like toys with different plastic, right? So there's some companies down in South America that are still pumping out 12-inch Joes, but they're like hard plastic, hollow, right? So it's a hollow plastic glued together on two sides, right? Like an old model kit kind of thing, right? That type of plastic. So it's a different plastic. You know, there's a lot of different things you got to take into consideration with the new style of action figures, you know, where it's solid chunks of plastic that are different and have to pivot at the right point and, you know, have certain tolerances so they're not loose but not too tight, and you know.
And that's a lot of it, right? And I think from, you know, the biggest thing for me here is supporting another independent creator. I will continue to support it for a while longer, right? As long as I see progress, I will continue to support it because they are interesting. These are probably not toys I'd put in my kid's hand because I feel like they might break. They're more likely stuff that I would just kind of, if I was to put it on a shelf, I would put it off the shelf. But you know what I will also say is, and Brick hits it on the head with the, you know, how does the evolution of Fist line go and the production? Because to me, it's more about them improving the quality of production in QA on it or QC. But you know,
but again, that goes back to someone letting Esteban know, not just patting him on the back saying these are great. You know, you gotta,
exactly.
I said, don't go attack the guy, right? Because Esteban's a cool guy.
Criticism.
You know, I talked to Esteban for quite a while. He's very happy to talk about the figures. You know, if you have an issue, he's more than happy to talk about it. He was talking to people at Joe Fest about some of the issues, right?
Yeah,
so
I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff in it. You know, he includes some things in it which I thought were cool. You know, you get these 3D printable file cards and stuff. You guys probably scan that, I guess. Oops. But then you can also get the you know, the cards of the actual characters, both in English and Spanish, I assume. But you know, I don't know. I don't speak anything but English, so I can't read it either. And I struggle with that enough as it is.
Can't read English either.
Yeah, it struggles.
I know a guy on Monday night that does that. Has a hell of a time reading English.
But the one thing I'll say that is intriguing to me is that, you know, they're doing these out of Colombia. I would assume, you know, it may be a relatively less expensive, but for me, the thing that I'd like to see is the quality improve, because to me, other than impacting your local economy, which is tremendously beneficial, I'm sure, I just don't know how long you sustain that if the quality is subpar.
Right.
So the quality has to increase over the foreseeable future
Right.
to justify paying the same price point
Yeah,
for a
you
figure that
got-
you have manufactured in China.
You got a brand new company.
Yep.
Opening up a brand new factory to make something that's never been made down there before, as far as this style of figure, right?
Absolutely.
So, let's see what happens when they launch the next figure, whether it's a full wave or a custom or a one-off. I mean, let's see what happens. I mean,
Yeah.
that car that they have designed looks really
Nightwolf.
good right now, but who knows, right?
I mean, I'll still give it a go. I mean, at this
Yeah.
point, it's one of those things that I want to support because I feel like by supporting them, we can still
Yeah.
see what they bring to fruition next time and whatnot. And so while I hate to do this, I will stand on my own moral, code of being honest, transparent, and clear. I have no alliance to him that I would speak ill of him or speak positively of him because it's benefiting me. I'm still going to flush this one. But with that said, my hope is that Fist is more of a floater and less of a sinker, and that he hangs around until he can climb out of the toilet and back onto my shelf with another wave with a little bit, improvement in that QC and the product overall. Because
Hopefully he's like that mouse and flushed away, right? Gets down to the sewer with the toads and fights his way back up to the top, right?
Exactly. Awesome, dude.
Let's hit up the chat real quick. We just got a few newcomers in here I want to say hi to.
Absolutely.
So Brick is here. I'm just trying to find the one I starred. What's up, Brick? How's your trip going? Hope everything's good. Allison, the retro toy princess. Greetings, Allison. Trust the Screamer says, no, Grandma, you got me Powered Rangers. It's not the same.
Oh, God, I love that. That's great. That's great.
God. And Mr. Payne's Toy Samples here.
Payne
What's
should be
up,
receiving a
Aaron?
box.
Awesome to see you, man. Awesome to see you.
Payne should be receiving a box within the next 3 days.
It's about goddamn time, Travis.
Yeah, it
He's
happens.
been waiting forever, okay?
I know.
I sent him 3 boxes of tissues because he's been crying so much about the box you promised him.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna take care of Payne. He's my guy, so he'll get another package here soon, on the house for sure.
All right, brother. That's it, shall we?
Yeah, let's go ahead and go into the main topic first, right? So we're just gonna highlight what this is. Again, we told folks we have some standard, segments, toy leader, toilet. We have our shout out from the crick, which will be coming up momentarily. We get our weekly news. But every week we pick a topic to discuss. We've talked about convention approaches. We've talked about Joe's Joe Fest. We rehashed what happened at Joe Fest last week. But this week, this event, this topic was going to be last week's, but we decided to pivot because we had had such good news from you hanging out with Sarge and having Teflon jump in. That we pushed this one out because last time we talked about how to save money on toys, and now we're talking about the collector's edition, what makes a toy valuable. And this isn't necessarily going to be just on prices. A lot of it will initially be price, but there could be other value. So before we go there, let's go to the next slide.
Review.
Collector's edition, it's time to see what makes a toy a prize rarity. From rare finds to mint condition, join us on this valuation. Makes a toy valuable, we'll show. Rarity, condition, history, let's go. Cultural impact, brands that shine. ToyLeet Takeover, it's valuation time. From Star Wars to vintage G.I. Joe, we'll uncover secrets that you need to know. Grading scales and market trends, tips to find the gems and make amends. What makes a toy valuable, we'll show. Rarity, condition, history, let's go. Cultural impact, brands that shine. ToyLeet Takeover, it's valuation time. From Star Wars to vintage G.I. Joe, we'll uncover secrets that you need to know. Grading scales and market trends, tips to find the gems and make amends. What makes a toy valuable, we'll show. Rarity, condition, history, let's go. Cultural impact, brands that shine. ToyLeet Takeover, it's valuation time. Join the hunt and find the gold. Every in your house is slowly sold. Collecting treasures, it's what we do. It's ToyLeet, you'll see it through. What makes a toy valuable will show. Rarity, condition, history, let's go. Cultural impact, brands that shine. ToyLeet Takeover, it's valuation time. So tune in now and join the quest. ToyLeet Takeover, we're the best. Like, subscribe, hit that bell for collectible stories we've got to tell.
I think we're back, dude.
Are we back? Man.
Yeah, we're back, man. So
I'm taking my afternoon nap.
yeah, I think that's
So
how
I'm
that
back.
works. And then I think
I think there's
I don't know if my
a beep
audio is
coming
going to
in.
play.
I think a beep's
But
coming
let's see. What's that?
I said I think I hear something coming in. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Don't think the audio is playing. I think there was a mess up this week. My apologies, dude.
Oh, shout out for the crick this week. My man, Pop Blender 75, or as we all call him, Pop. This dude was all over the place at Joe Fest. Had a great time getting to know him. He does some awesome live streams on his channel, Pop Blender 75 on, I think it's the same on YouTube. He is my direct competition on Tuesday night, our direct competition on Tuesday night. He goes live at 10 o'clock every Tuesday with Matthew Matson, Punk's other moderator, but I'm the best Punk's moderator because that's just the way it is. And they talk about some pop culture, nostalgia, all sorts of stuff. But pretty much every night, I think he goes live on YouTube. I swear to God, I've seen him live almost every night of the week. So, but he's a really cool guy. Lots of fun to talk to. Really cool guy that, he spent most of the one day at Joe Fest dressed as Bucky the Beaver in a beaver costume. So, just one of those guys that just likes to cut loose, have fun. And he has one of the coolest hats in the world that he wears.
Good deal.
Yeah, so if you haven't checked out Pop Blender 75, go over, give him a sub on YouTube, give him a follow on the IGs, and check out his zany goofiness. That's absolutely awesome to be part of.
Good deal. Good deal. And then the next one, again, I don't have the audio this week, but oh yeah, he has. He's like an evil stable leader over here.
That's right.
But next we have the weekly news.
Beep, 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 beep. There you go.
Awesome. There's a light week on the news, to be honest, right? So there was a few things, but I try to focus on the items that were at the top of my list that I wanted to talk about. So the Patriot Force did make another announcement just the other day. And that announcement is that they will have the Insurgents, the Blood Unit. I think there may have been another one, but I wasn't able to track down the image as I was trying to go find that earlier today.
So they showed off 2 of these at Joe Fest, and I believe there is supposed to be a third similar one. I think they just have different overlays and different coloring, but basically all the same figure.
Gotcha. So yeah, so they've the Insurgents, and I think these are some of the additional stretch goals, as you alluded to last week when we talked, Ed, is that when you talked to the gentleman that was running Patriot Force with his son, he was he delayed the Kickstarter a bit because he wanted to get to some additional pieces in the line, for those stretch goals, and kind of just ensure that
he switched midstream, was getting the Hawk Twa. And after Hawk, he switched from 1/18 to 1/12. So
gotcha. Good deal. So that's it for those guys. Another one we have here is the
brutal.
Little news from Let's Get Brutal, the Brutal Realms. I know they've got their Kickstarter coming, and they showed off Athena here.
Damn,
which
Athena's
is
gonna kick all the guys' asses.
Yeah, this is a pretty impressive looking figure. I know they previewed things, and we showed it probably a couple months ago now at this point, that they were asking if folks would be interested in a female buck or some other types of bucks. And, I know the female one seemed to hit, close to home for a lot of folks. And I wasn't quite sure, but, knowing Savage Crucible hasn't announced any female bucks just yet, if these fit in, which the more and more I see, the more and more I believe that these will, fall right in line with my Savage fantasy world figures. So definitely keep my eye on this one, and very impressed with just the what would this be? The not prototype, but sketch art, the mock-up of what they're looking for.
The renders.
Yeah. So I don't think this is a render. I think this I mean, maybe it is, but this to me looks like a
This is just a 2D drawing. It looks like.
This looks like a sketch and whatnot. So I look forward to seeing the renders, and I look forward to seeing the prints if they bring it that far. But I'm assuming, based on what we've previously seen, this is likely to be a stretch goal. But I'm definitely very, very excited. I think there's a question in there for you, Ed, around the Brutal Realm from Brick. Did you see that one?
I didn't even see the Brutal Realm at Joe Fest. So if they were there, I didn't see them. But I was like a friggin' sprinkler at Joe Fest. I was going around and around and around, and things were just flying off me. It was disgusting.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
They'll slot right into your fantasy shelves.
So they'll be a little bit on the smaller side. So that makes me think that if they're going to skew closer to Marvel Legends, that's really interesting to me, because I really thought the prints and they look bulky. So it'll be interesting to see, because then it tells me that they're going to be more in line with my Conan figure that I got from not Conan. I'm sorry. The one I got from the Frazetta.
Oh,
no,
Dark Wolf.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be, because they're so thick.
Yeah.
Right. So they'll be so thick. I think that, like, physically the thickness of it is likely going to align more with my Frazetta figure that I got. So if that's the case, I'm okay with that. A little bit more shorter statue, humans. So no issues there.
Interesting.
But yeah, the next one is one that I thought was interesting. It's a new logo on the news. Memory Toys. So did come across this, which folks probably saw popping around the internet. So they have this little goblin here, which I thought looked interesting and clean. Definitely could see myself picking up one or two or a handful of these little guys, because I could see them being used for two different pieces. They look like the evil version of a plunderling, but they also look like they work really cool with my fantasy figures too. So definitely interested in this. And there was another.
The cool thing is that Mythic just announced that 2-pack of goblins, and they're calling it the Goblin Hollow 2-pack or something like that.
Oh, I don't even know if I saw that. Was that the one off the
newest
sale?
Yeah, the newest pre-order.
Yeah, you're right.
These will go, a little extra goblin for your Goblin Hollow, and the hood thing on this guy is just awesome. I mean, it comes off, it's removable, so it's not on his face all the time. It's just so cool looking.
Yeah, and I mean, it just looks so much to me like the Plunderlings in height.
It does, it definitely gives that Plunderling vibe.
Yeah, so I'm very interested to see this. And they also, which I didn't grab an image of because I totally forgot about it until we were talking about it now, but they have some sort of mount or some sort of ride-on, like, beast-looking thing that these guys are rolling around on too, which I thought was cool. So I'll make sure.
Memory Toys coming out with some mounts now, right? They got the bear, they got the saber tooth, and then that feral wolf. War dog, whatever the hell that was. Beast.
Oak Bounty Hunter. Oh, that'll be cool.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Definitely, I will likely be picking this up. I think this is a 5K Toys likely purchase. Right. Yeah.
Yep. It probably end up running around like $50-$60, so be worth every penny of it.
I mean, it looks clean. It looks very clean. I'd be interested to see what all the accessories it comes with and such, but it looks really clean.
I've ordered several things off of 5K Toys and have never been disappointed. And I know Rick has, and Thanos has, and none of us.
I've ordered some stuff from them before. I always default to Hello first, and then I go to the secondary marketplace for things. That's just me personally.
Same with me. But
well, obviously, right? You work for those guys, right, for free. But like you have I ordered a couple of the what were they, like the Greek mytho ones, like Zeus and Poseidon, I think. I had a couple of those. I even did order some of the dinosaur one, or no, it was I want to say it was Ezra. It was those big looking rhino looking things.
Oh yeah, that's Ezra. Yep. Part of their gladiator line. I thought you ordered one of those dinosaur battle things.
I have one of the dinosaurs. I do have that.
Okay, I thought you ordered one.
With my AWOCs, but the I did pre-order those two Ezra Studio, like the dual one.
The black and black and brown or whatever.
I did the deposit, but rather than pay the balance on it, because I was like, I'm into too much stuff, I just pulled off of it and let it go. So I backed out.
Rick has them. Rick has, I think, both of them or one of them, and they look damn good. look
They
really
do.
good.
They do. There was nothing wrong with them. It's just
Oh yeah,
I decided that I wasn't gonna spend money there.
I want to get one of them if I can find one. I'm going to get one of those at some point because
The next update's a quick one. We talked about this last week. Valaverse. I don't have all the images. If you want to see all the images, you can go out to their. These are just screen caps we grabbed from their YouTube video. And just a couple of them that I thought were interesting. You have this, and the reason I'm not going to go after this limited to 50 pink SUV. I don't care. I think it's cool that he's doing it. I think the biggest thing here is that you are going to have this be a major piece that true collectors of the Valaverse that are just so pot committed are going to be chasing to get and be one of the ones that owns the
pink.
one of 50 because it is limited. And then you have folks that are going to go after the pink.
Well, the pink Steel Brigade is
Steel
for breast cancer awareness, so that's a cool thing that he's doing.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down for that. Like I think it's cool. I won't go after the Razvani vehicle myself. It's just not something that I need, and I wouldn't go for a pink one because I like to open up my stuff and use it, and I wouldn't be using that for any of my stuff.
I mean, if you have a daughter that you're sharing your collection with, that'd be a cool add-on, right? But other than that, like you said, it's going to be the guys that are pot committed that need that one of 50 piece that's going to get.
It'll be interesting to see if anybody opens it because one of 50 is such a limited run. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
He said it's rad looking, so go. Brick.
I mean, it's to each their own. It's not something that I care for. It doesn't fit in what I'm looking for. But if you want a badass Barbie or something to roll up into town, and or you take Pandora, aka Badass Barbie, and you want her to show up in that, she's gonna own some asses, I'm sure.
Yep.
But you've got
give me the keys to your dream house, bitch.
You've got a couple other figures here. You've got the Pandora. They also have a white variant Pandora, which is the mail away, I think, right? If I remember correctly. You have the breast cancer awareness pink one, which will be cool. I'll definitely grab one of them. One, just to support the cause, and two, just to kind of have the complete figures. I do have most of everything. I think I passed on some of the Steel Brigade females last time, but I'll probably grab this one just because it does kind of like the pink stands out. So it'll be interesting to just grab. There was definitely some. I wasn't ultimately like super impressed with the convention. I just expected more.
Yeah, it was a lot of more of the same. The one cool thing I think that he really did, it's nice to see the head packs that are more character packs as opposed to just the helmets and the balaclavas with the
absolutely that I thought was really
not
cool.
Snake Eyes heads.
I guess that's what it was. I didn't see anything that was like boom game changer, but there was a lot of really good filler pieces that folks are going to be really happy with, I think. So to me, it wasn't like, you didn't get the new buck like you did with the Atlas, and you didn't get the Colonel style. I was just expecting more of that and more extended lore, but I think that's to come from what he kind of alluded to. You definitely,
which is kind of crazy though, because did you go to his panel at PowerCon? Did you get to go to it?
I wasn't there for it.
At PowerCon, it was, I think that might be part of the problem too, because like at PowerCon, it was the price reduction, and it was just new product after new product after new product. Some of it was some of it was wow, and this year was just kind of like, here's what we got, more of the same, a little bit cooler, a little bit different, but still more of the same.
So there's a question from Terrence as why we're skipping the females. I have just personally, I've never really collected a lot of the female figures. I do with the Joe and the Valaverse. I have all of the female figures I've been able to get my hands on. I just skipped on the Steel Brigade female. That was the only thing. I have wrestling. I stick to the male figures. I've never been a real female wrestling figure collector. But I have
one female figure in my entire collection.
Really?
And that was just given to me over last weekend. It's a Black Widow figure.
Oh, okay.
And it's only because I've never liked female figures. It's just I never played with them when I was a kid, so I just don't use them now.
That's me.
Things. I have nothing against them. I mean, they're cool looking. Like that Gladiator, I might pick up Athena. She's badass looking, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I have the Pandora. I have Eclipse. I have
I got the female Steel Brigade, and I gave it to Rob because I didn't like the way the figure was actually designed, but that was just me.
Gotcha. Yeah. So that's it for the news this week.
You're getting called
Want to
out.
hit up the chat? No. That is not the case. That's not the case.
Uh,
I just, as a
Sure.
fan of,
Look at him being a spoon, stirring shit up.
Yep.
Briscoe showed up, and that's
What's up, dude?
the newest one. Let's see. Trusted Screamer says Red Rhino Gladiator fig is badass. One of my favorite reviews. Yes. And Brick does have both the Minotaurs are gorgeous. And Road Keeper says he's a big Valamark, but he has to pass on the Pink Vanguard also. And let's see. Trusted Screamer says he used to be all guy figures. Women. They're called women. They're called females. Females. If you look in a trade collector book, they're called female action figures. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
At least I didn't call them dolls.
That's right.
I mean,
Chicks.
yeah, like I wasn't rude. I don't know what I called them. If I said girls, my apologize. My apologies. You know, when I was watching wrestling as a kid, it was girls' matches, what they called it. So,
Yeah.
you know, they didn't really call it female. Maybe they call it women's, and I just
I think they call it women's matches now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like what the Women's National Basketball Association. So yeah, I guess women. Brick is right. It's women now.
What up, males? I don't mean anything offensively by it. So if it is taken away, my apologies. That's definitely not our intention.
Oh, I thought he was saying, "What up, mates?" I know he's over in Japan. I thought he might have hop skip down to Australia.
Yeah, He-Mail. That's good. I like it. He-Mail. I hope I get a He-Mail figure at some point. That would be awesome. Hey, you know, I have one that I go for, but that's about it. So with that said, we have the main topic tonight. We want to talk about the collector's edition and kind of what makes a toy valuable. I'm not going to play the video again this time because it's a lot of just screen scrolling, not a lot of updating there. But we can jump right into it. So toy value, right? Like what brings value to a toy? You know, it could be, you know, rarity. It could be the condition. It could be the cultural impact. It could be the brand, specific market trends. You know, the authenticity. You know, historical significance, or even, you know, different expert insights that just kind of push it that way. So, you know, for you, Ed, personally, what defines a toy's value for you?
Well, I think we first have to put the caveat out there that no matter what, something is only as valuable as somebody is either going to appreciate it or willing to pay for it, right? So, you know, I have toys that I have from my childhood, you know, back in 1974, 75. They're absolutely invaluable to me, right? I would never sell them. They have no value that's, you know, monetary or otherwise. They're just absolutely valuable to me.
Yep.
Somebody might have theirs that's valuable to them, and it might be the same damn thing, but there's no value to me that's, you know, could be put onto it. But other than that, I think what really makes toys valuable is really the limitedness about them and whether they were designed well or not. You know, if they were something that people were really seeking after, right?
Yeah,
but I think the most important thing to remember is, you know, their value to you, right? Because I mean, I have some figures you could pick up anywhere that I absolutely love. That, you know, like Dubon from Mythic Legions, you can still get him all day long. To me, he's valuable. To somebody else, he's just another Mythic Legions you can get off the table for $40.
Yep, absolutely. So I asked you what your value was and how you value it. So I wanted to get your insight to that. And I see the chat's blowing up about it and kind of like it could be anything. Yeah. And I see there's two things. There's market value and personal value.
Yep,
so
exactly.
The market value and what defines what the market to that is. And there's a number of factors. There's a personal value. It could be that toy that you had when you were a kid that you lost or got stolen or got broken, and you've been chasing that holy grail forever. And I think the Clubhouse did a show on this at one point where he talked about like what's that one toy you need and want you never got your hands on.
Yep, your holy grail.
Exactly. So I think there's a number of different things that make it.
It's hard to judge value in today's market as far as toys go, because people. Like I was just discussing this last week or maybe the week before that on one of the streams I was on. Like I remember during the the late 90s and early 2000s when G.I. Joe released the classic collection, which were 12-inch G.I. Joes, but they were all modern, all brand new. And people were selling those on eBay, even though you could still pick the figure up in the store for 15, 20 bucks, but they're selling them for $150 because it was a rare G.I. Joe, thinking it was a G.I. Joe from the 1960s, and it was definitely not, right? And then you had something of a wonderful, wonderful magazine, except for the price part, called Toy Fair, that absolutely inflated pricing. So everybody thought they had a massive collection of just my kids going to college for free once I sell my Power of the Force collection, right?
Right.
And we all know how that turned out. So I
Yep.
think that's, part of the thing in today's world. People, like we talked about it recently, right? At the budget, or yes, collecting on a budget. That if you go to garage sales 20 years ago, people were like, oh, that's $5. Now it's like, well, I saw this on eBay and it's selling for, $25. So that's what it's going to be at my garage sale on the table.
Yep.
And, it's the value is inflated, and anybody thinks that they're going to get, a life savings or retirement off of toy collecting, you better start selling it now.
Yeah, sell it as soon as you see it get high, if that's what you're
Yep.
really looking for. So a couple examples, right? And I think we have some really, this is like perfectly timed, really. There's a couple real life instances of toy value, most recently in some of the mainstream toys, and even some of the independent toys that have jumped through the roof. Most recently, we saw that Rogue figure from the X-Men 97 release, and that thing jumped up to, in the hundreds. You're talking $25, $30 figure, and it's going in the hundreds within weeks of it hitting the market, right? And that to me, that's a huge return. You're getting 5 times the value on that. That's a huge return. So part of it's that the rarity or the failure to have done good. Using the Rogue example, having not done the perfect deco or version of a character. So a lot of times that plays into fact, right? And what'll happen is that if the previous Rogue figure was 95% of the way there, that one's through the roof for as long as it holds its value. And then what happens is that re-release comes, and now you have the new X-Men 97 Rogue, which depletes and lowers the value of that one previously, while that one inflates. So value comes and goes on these figures significantly. Right. Another example that just happened in the last 24 hours was the Valaverse announcement that they have a con exclusive that they said was going to, and I have 2 pieces on this. I'll speak to that after I make the statement. Is Bobby had clearly stated that this was only going to be available at the convention circuit until the end of the year, I think in November, his last convention. And then after that, at some point, whatever remained in stock, he would release the Bone Collector exclusive, right? And make it available to people to buy online. However, because he had that released at the DFW show a week and a half ago, and there was so much noise around that figure, we saw eBay prices soar up in the 500 range for a $40 figure or something. I don't know the exact price point at the
I don't know what they were costing,
but I'm assuming it was under
$50. Condor was 40, so I imagine Bone Collector was probably close to it, right?
Right, so somewhere in that range. And he had said that he wasn't going to make it public, availably outside of the conventions. Then today, within the last 24 hours, he spun and said, which I'll speak to my opinion on that in a moment. He spun the idea and said, you know what, we're actually going to make this available on Monday if you want to get this limit of 3 online. And it's also going to be available this weekend at the convention that they're going to be at. I can't remember, Toyrifica or Toy something.
Yeah, it's a local con to them, though, so it's got to be in New England somewhere.
So that value, right, was through the roof.
Yeah, they're what, $500 or something? When was going for?
Yeah. $500 something.
Yeah.
So that inflated value, and then as a producer and a manufacturer and the owner of that IP decided, I don't like all my fans and all the fans of my line spending 5 times that amount on a figure when they could try to get one of these from me directly for a fraction of the price. And now, I
don't know if Bobby still does it because I haven't bought directly from his website in a while, but there used to be that box you had to check, right? That said, I will not scalp these toys, right?
Yep. He used to have that, which, as a collector, that shows you his stance as a collector. He doesn't want to see people just inflating these values on toys. And another addition is that, going back to the news announcement this past weekend, or the weekend, this weekend when we saw that announcement, Trigger, re-release of Trigger, slightly different. not the same as the original, but he's, coming out with another Trigger figure, which was one of the most sought after figures in the
Right.
secondary market from
Yep.
people. You'd see a lot of people crapping in the Valaverse, Legions of Vala, like chats and
Yeah.
stuff on Facebook, because the value on it had started to creep up there, but there wasn't another re-release of it, and folks
Yeah.
wanted to get their hands on it. So, Bobby really releasing
But
that.
that was another thing, right? Like in recent times, the Joe Fest exclusive for Delta 17, the Okanami or whatever the hell it was called. I can't remember the name now. It's Okanagi something. But anyway, that exclusive before the show was over was up on eBay for $130. They have some left over from the show that are going to go up on their site in probably a month, So like part of it is that, like I said in the beginning, if people are willing to pay it, hey, all power to you, go get it, right? It's just like you witnessed when you went to that show and we're selling your figures for $5 and everybody else had the figures on their tables for 15, 20, right?
Yep.
If someone's willing to pay for it, then that's the value of that figure to that person, right? And
Yep.
that's, there's nothing you're going to do to fix that part of it.
Yeah,
You're never gonna stop scalping. That's just
right. That's rarity and scarcity. If there's an opportunity to make, that's the United States way. That's
right.
That's
Welcome to
capitalism,
capitalism.
entrepreneurship, right? Like if I can make a hustle buck on something, I'm going to do it. So
Yep.
it's it's unfortunate for those that miss out on it. I've been fortunate enough and lucky enough with the lines that I hold dear, like Valaverse, the Savage Crucible, the Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, those lines that I really, really enjoy and want to collect. I was lucky enough that I got in either right after the Kickstarter and was able to get in at wave ones and get them, or be a part of the Kickstarter opportunity, so I didn't miss out and have to overpay. You do have things like even the Mythic Legions, and I saw Brick mentioning some of this in there. That Mythic Legions community is massive. But one of the things that they try to do is they're very close. They have the Cabal, and a lot of those folks will try to help one another out, which I think Joe probably can advocate for, is that those guys, if you're part of that community, try their hardest to do it and take care of each other. So those Four Horsemen figures tend to hold value, especially the early ones. But as you're seeing, the more releases, and I saw this when they were doing the warehouse find sale a few weeks back, a few months back now, a lot of people were commenting, or not a lot, but there were some people commenting
There are some people complaining. Yeah.
They were complaining. They're like, oh, this is another run, and you're devaluing my collection. And how does a toy value? Well, one, and I think at the end of the day, it comes down to, and this is kind of going to be one of my closing points, is that only focus on the personal value it adds to you. If it's something you love and you enjoy, then that's the value to you.
Yep.
But if you're focused on an investment, don't be that clown in the 90s who went and bought all those Topps baseball cards and thought they were going to be able to put, kids through college, or, things like that. I still hold on to my dad's comic book collection just for the sake of it. But he was born in the 60s. Yep, exactly.
That's it.
Exactly. Joe. So toy value is going to ebb and flow. It's going to climb and it's going to fall. And every time, every time a new wave hits, there's a chance that your wave previously, or that figure, if another one comes out, you're taking a ding. So if you're in the collection to make a return, honestly, the sooner you unload that at the value is the best thing you can do, because that value is going to shrink. That said, you have things like 1978 vintage Kenner laser pistol, shrink wrapped, going for $9.
There's things, right? Like there's like the Hot Wheels community, right? Those guys are nuts. They go after those, red lines and the limited editions, different paints, different stickers, whatever it is, right? And those things tend to hold their value pretty well because people still search for them, but they're also starting at 98 cents. So, when they go up to, $20, it becomes a real valuable figure automatically,
and that's crazy. That's crazy to me, because I don't collect cars. I'm like, why would you want cars? They don't like, they're just, but I'm not a car guy.
I have my dad's Matchbox collection from when he was a kid in the 50s, right? Some of them. And it's like, they're beat up because he played with them. To me, I love them because, when you look at him, you can see that he loved playing with those cars, right? Could I put them up for eBay? I could probably make some money on them, but am I going to make enough to outsell the value that they have? Because I know my dad was sitting Indian style on the floor in his dad's farmhouse playing with them. No, never happened, right?
Yeah. This is how it is, right? Things are, used, but like that's the reason these ones in the 70s were worth something and they're still worth something, is
Yeah.
because someone happened to hold on to something, but they were in the minority, not the majority. But as
Right.
people started seeing these values increase over time, that meant that the minority of people, there was I won't say the majority, but there was a larger fan base that was collecting for the intention to resell and amass a major valuable collection.
Right.
And those are things that come into play, right? It could be specific figures, it could be specific characters, it could be specific runs of those characters. It could also be the fact that you have a lot, like an entire lot, and I'm saying not a lot, I'm saying a lot, as in
Right.
LOT of figures. And if you have all, for me, if I was to unload the entire AWOC series that I have to date, which is a collection of everything plus army builds of those, it would be a large amount of figures that would hold value to somebody who may have missed out on those earlier ones. So there's a number of factors that go into it.
Yeah. Well, it's also like the vintage GI Joe collectors, right? In the 60s, they had a wooden footlocker, and on top of the wooden footlocker, it had a white line that was a sticker that said name, and then you could put your rank on there and whatever serial number or something on there, right? And there's collectors out there that hunt only for the ones that are clean,
right?
But Jeff that was on here a couple weeks ago for the GI Joe Fest celebration, him and I, we love the ones that you find that say, this is.
I don't know if my network's going down or yours, Ed. I'm having a hard time keeping up with you.
Cool thing than some guy like that, right?
I don't know if it was on my end or your end, but I was losing you for a moment there.
I probably drifted out. I was taking another nap.
So
let's hit the chat up real quick because we got some comments about the actual topic. So first of all, guess who's in the chats, mofos? War Chest has showed up. Memories associated with toy adds value, absolutely. And Fatrid has showed up also.
Hello, Fatrid.
And Punk just promoting himself on our show again.
Promoting himself on our show?
Yep.
What kind of monster does that?
The same guy that screams about don't promote your shit on my show or other people's shows. It's against the law.
By the way, go check Punk out on Monday nights from 9 to 12 because
12:30 now. His show's gone from 2.5 hours to 3, and now we're on to 3 hours and 45 minutes. So, he's getting fun reactions to the toys I've been looking for here, going back and getting Bandai. I don't know what SIC stand for versus SH Figure Arts, and the market value's low, plus money's strong over here. Yeah, the dollar's strong over there in Japan. Yeah, that'd be cool, right? To go over and shop in that kind of a place. I need to track down some previous release ones. Duke and Scarlet currently at my Walmart. I start jonesing when I see them. Go get some, Derek. They're a lot of fun. Go to Hella Dope Toys. They still got a lot of the older ones.
Yeah, man. And pre-order the new ones.
Right. And if you use A Punk with Toys, I don't even know how it goes. APWT, a Punk with Toys. If you use APWT code when you're checking out, you can actually save yourself 10%.
And
market trends, cultural significance, rarity, cultural significance. Absolutely. Okay. Thanks, Brick. Brick knew I was going to say, I don't know what sick is. So it's super imaginative Shogokin. Try saying that 10 times fast.
I'm not even going to say it once.
That started in 98. Redesigned classic Japanese. I'm not going to say that word. Common writer, Kool-Aids, and I don't think that's really Kool-Aids, but that's how I read it. And 6.5 inch compatible, older articulation, but rad sculpts. Very cool. And thanks for telling us what sick means.
Yeah, I'll stick to sick because I can't pronounce the other thing.
And Fatrit says he tends to put the Sid, as in Toy Story, spin on his toys. He makes them mine. So for me, value is definitely not market. For me, it's what he can turn them into. And Fatrid does turn some cool stuff into even cooler stuff. Having a strong fan base that values the figs and parts for customs helps aftermarket value for Horseman stuff values well, but by multiple measures. Yep. And Trust a Creamer says money value equals desire and scarcity. That's absolutely a big reason that things go up in value. As you can see, people think 100 Valorverse 100 or number 100 is going to be really valuable. It goes up. Now those guys are probably all complaining that no one bought it in time.
Yeah.
And he's Joe, the joy factor is number one. But with kids and aging, I worry more and more about the money value. Yeah. It for me, the value, it kind of works both ways, right? Because if I know it's going to become valuable, I'm an open box guy. I'm going to stick the thing in the mud. So if I know it's going to be really valuable, I just don't bother.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
my thing.
yeah.
I mean, unless it's something I'm not worried about the cost, right? Like if the price point is where I need it to be, even if the
Yeah.
value is going to jump through the roof, I don't care.
Right,
Though I
right,
will
right.
say, like, I bought that old Mattel like Kickstarter one that they did for the pro wrestling one. I still have the Diesel, the Doink, and the Macho Man in box because I'm like, and they're the ultimates, and that's all I collect because I'm just like, they have value. Do I want to keep them or do I want to sell them? Like, so somebody,
Right.
because then it'll cover the cost of what my ring was, and some other collector that actually wants those ones because I'm not so tied to them that I need them. I just wanted the arena and the entrance.
Well, here's a good example, right? The His Tank HasLab from last year. The His Tank HasLab. People were paying over $800 for that when it first got out, off on the secondary market.
Yep.
They were paying close to what Tank and all the figures cost just for one of the figures or a couple of the figures, especially Cobra Commander.
Yep.
Down South 77 picked up a His Tank at Joe Fest for $325. Sealed.
Open or unboxed? Sealed with all the extras?
Yeah. Everything
Wow,
was
that's a killer deal down south.
Yeah, he got a great deal, right? But I mean,
Yeah.
it was last day, of course, so everybody's trying to, I don't want to take this big honking box home. So I mean,
I'm impressed with that.
Scored at the right time, but still, there was a lot of stuff. I was telling you last week, right? There was a lot of vintage Joe stuff in the Real American Hero line that was at Joe Fest last weekend that was not going for what you would think it would go for, right? So I mean, like, maybe some of it was that we're going to keep the price reasonable because these are all Joe fans. I'm sure there was part of that, right? But still, and this is what brought me up to Galactus HasLab.
So,
and who wants to buy mine? I don't know anybody that wants Galactus.
Well, my son has it. My son bought it for himself a few years back when they did that. He did the
I mean, wants it now is what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. And I saw the message that Funkos were made to be scalped.
Yeah.
Yes and no. Because the Funko collecting community, I had a buddy of mine who asked me to move some of his because I had a reputable seller on eBay.
Yeah.
And those people are pains in the butts, man. Like they will complain for like the work. And like I pack.
Well, that's why Hella Dope stopped selling and carrying in them because
pop divas is what I call them.
Yeah. If there was a tiny little nick, dent in the cardboard or anything, I need a refund on this, or I need, a partial refund on this because it's not mint in box. It's got a tiny little thing on it, right?
And I'm not a pop collector. I was just asked to move them. And one of them, like I know my buddy was at New York City Comic Con and he had some of those from like when he went to New York City Comic Con, and he asked me to move all of those. He was moving out of state and he asked me to unload some stuff. So I was like, yeah, I'll take care of it for you. And I did that, and I had somebody accuse it being a knockoff, and I'm like, and I asked my buddy, I was like, where was that from? He's like, that's the one I got from New York City Comic Con. It's like, there's no way. He's like, yeah, the dude like claimed it was a knockoff, so that made me like I stopped even selling them on eBay and only was doing local pickup and stuff because what was happening was I feel like I was sending legitimate ones to people, and then they would send back a return and dispute and send me a knockoff, and I'm like, that's
exactly
BS. And I mean, unless you got it certified. Like Funko collectors, they are like Ted said here. He hit it on the head. Yeah.
Yes, Briscoe, that is facts.
Yeah.
And yes, Ted, dirty Funko collectors, they're the worst. Absolutely.
Real males. Yes. I'm gonna make Brick a song. Real males.
Real male's a genius.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so just kind of piggybacking off this, you got San Diego Comic-Con exclusives. They have Marvel Legends they do every year. We're right on the cusp of SDCC, and they've been announcing. You've got the Once a Man, whatever it was for the
Cobra. Yep,
Cobra. You've got
Cobra
the
Commander.
Some of the other ones. I'm sure you have the Marvel ones. I don't know that there's anything that's been announced for it, but those are going to carry value.
Yeah, there's a
Basically,
couple other companies. I can't remember what the actual products are, but there's a couple companies that have announced their SDCC exclusives.
yeah,
So,
and I think you mentioned Toy Fair. I'm just looking at my notes for the topic. You already mentioned Toy Fair magazine and other things. One of the video preview that I showed, I was over at Action Figure 411, which is one where I use. I
Yeah.
don't use it for pricing. That's a cool feature that it has in there. I use it for storing my collections when
Yep.
my kids were doing the mainline stuff, because it's just an easy place to keep track. So when I'm at the store and the kid
Yeah.
wants something, I can see what we have. But you can check those tools to find out if you're looking for the market value, you can get a good idea there. But a lot of it comes into condition, grading, and I saw a recent video, which again just so happened to coincide with our main topic, and I saw it, I want to say like 3 days ago, and the individual was talking about how this year, because the production on a lot of these mainstream lines like Marvel and Mattel is slowing down, and the main stores like your Targets, your Walmarts, the retailers, they're not getting as many of the waves. They're not buying them because stuff's
Yep.
been sitting for so long, so they're limiting what they get. So in turn, that means the Helidopes and the other stores online are getting these waves that may not be seen in the store, which also means that when you're using these smaller businesses, they're not hitting the market share that Walmart or Target would normally get, even GameStop included.
Right. Yep.
In this more niche group of purchasers, is lowering the production of these different waves. So right now, this individual was suggesting these are the waves to pick up because it's going to increase in value. Which I laugh and I go, man, you are really gambling there, because
Yeah.
like there's some waves in some of those mainline figures. I'm like, I don't see where the value is here. But you know what?
On top of that, right? We don't know, right? I mean, like, take into consideration during the last part of COVID and right after the stores opened up and everything, right? There was that Cobra Island GI Joe stuff that was going to Target, and some of those figures people weren't able to find them, and they went nuts for them. Hundreds of dollars for these figures, and Hasbro's re-released them. Maybe a little bit different paint scheme or whatever, and some of them, like, people were clamoring for some of those figures that all of a sudden there's truckloads of them showing up at Ollie's and Ross's and stuff, because Hasbro didn't even realize they still had some in a container that was sitting there not unloaded. So I mean, it's definitely a gamble.
Yeah, and that's the thing I thought was interesting is, like, I mean, you could get some value right now, maybe,
Right.
but you're not going to see it maybe in a year. You might be 2 years before you see a return on those. But I mean, that does happen, right?
Mhm.
There's other YouTubers that will go and look and show what some of the value is on different figures over the
Right.
course of time. And
The only thing
show
I
the
can see right now that's holding value for at least temporary times is the Build-A-Figures
Yep.
that Marvel Legends does, right?
Well,
Those figures go on the secondary market for more than buying the 5 or 6 figure wave goes for.
but you can't even trust that anymore, right?
Right.
Because they do the Build-A-Figures and then they release a Hulkbuster by itself.
Right.
And
Exactly.
I just use that as an
Yep.
example. I remember
Yep.
helping my son collect that and making sure we had every part.
Yeah, there was a
for it.
Hulkbuster, and then there was they did it with the Blob, and they did it with one other one too that
Yep.
I know of for a fact, right?
Yeah.
And that's the other problem. They just release it as an actual figure.
I mean,
2 years down the
it
road.
makes sense, right? That they
Yeah.
do release them. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? They either re-release it as a Build-A-Figure, which has happened once or twice that I can recall. But what you often see is that you see things like what they did with the Hulkbuster. They actually just package the whole unit together
Right.
with another figure and do a 2-pack or something and get it out there.
Yeah.
So you have that risk. So that's something to be considered. And again, you're banking on returning that. So I'm not someone who's going to chase after.
That's why I put the caveat on there that it's temporary, right? Those Build-A-Figures are usually a temporary thing where they're valuable when they first get out there, because people were buying pieces of like the cat for $20 just for the piece, the arm that goes to the cat, right? The Zabu. So it's like,
Yep.
if you catch it at that time and your intent is to make money off it, that's the time to do it.
Well,
But it doesn't hold value for that long a period, though.
and that's a figure wave that when I was at the toy show and I met the guy.
Brick, have a great one. Enjoy the rest of your trip, brother. Safe travels to you, man. Enjoy your boat landing.
Take it easy, brother.
Land ho or something. Make it fun.
Yeah. One of the things that with that with the Kazar figure line there. When I was actually at the toy show, when I had the designer of the Kazar, the sculptor for that, he and some of the other people were like, I don't want the rest of these. He's like, how much can I buy the the Sabretooth off you? I'll give you $100 for it. I'm like, I mean, that's damn near just buying the toys at that point. Like, just go buy the whole set and throw the other plastic and give it to it. Donate it to the children's hospital or something.
Yeah,
so some
right.
kids have stuff to
Put
play
it in
with.
its goodwill.
Exactly. So, there are waves that they do with those Build-A-Figures where that figure value for the Build-A-Figure is the only value on that lot. And I couldn't tell you off the top of my head outside of Kazar who else was in that lot. I don't remember now, other than the one figure I didn't buy, which was the Iron Man, because it didn't have a Bath figure in it. I'd be curious to talk to like a Ted and Aaron and say, hey, of the people that pre-ordered that whole wave to get that figure,
one bought the extra figure.
how many times did you actually sell that Iron Man?
Very little. Ted already discussed that. Yep. Very
So-
few people. And they've done that in a couple of the last Build-A-Figure waves where there's an extra figure that doesn't have a Build-A-Figure piece.
Yeah, and they do that often. They throw 7 figures with 6 parts, and they have that one. And the reason they do that, I believe, is because typically that one without the part is a mainline figure. So it's your Captain America's, your Spider-Mans, your Iron Mans, the ones that they know
think
all
they're
the
gonna
kids are going to grab off the shelf.
Yeah. The ones that they believe will sell on their own, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So other than, I know Icarus was in that line, but I don't remember who else. Icarus.
There was like a Dark Thor or something.
Oh yeah, Dark Thor was in that. That's right. Yep.
So that brings me to just a couple more.
Look, go ahead. Showed up.
Oh, awesome.
The Black Knight's here. And Ted answered your question. That Iron Man was also double packed, and a lot of reviewers shit on it. It was dead before it got out.
So here's what I'll say. I don't believe a lot of people pick that up. I believe if you wait a couple years, there might be some value in that figure, just because not a lot of people grabbed it. So it'll be one of those figures that, oh man, I wish I had grabbed that figure, and they may want it. So go to Hello Toys and see if they have it in stock and make your order today.
Thank you. We appreciate your support.
Exactly.
Real quick, let's just read this comment from Briscoe before I lose it, because this is related to the topic.
Yeah, I can understand that, right? When you do those, and it definitely can turn some folks off. I dealt with that with the WWE Elites back in the day when Toys R Us had an exclusive, exclusives there. It drove me nuts because they were
Walmart exclusives are impossible to get your hands on, so you might as well just forget those. It's
oftentimes you can't get it. That's why you go to the website, and then how many times they cancel your order?
Yep, exactly.
Sometimes you still get the box, so yeah, it's frustrating. I really struggle with exclusives like that. I like convention exclusives that are readily available. This year's San Diego Comic-Con, I was watching a video. I think our buddy over there, Mega J Retro, was doing, where he's talking about how you can actually get a hold of which one is it? The G.I. Joe figure, and how you have to like register ahead of time, and you can only get it through their sub site, and you have to have been I believe you have to have been an attendee. You have to show up to the booth at a certain time. So like they're making that.
They have the thing now where you register for it, you go to the booth, you scan your thing, and then it ships from Hasbro's warehouse. It's not something you get to go home from the show with, right? But that's, it's kind of that to me, that defeats the whole purpose of a show exclusive, right?
Yep.
I get it, like what Ace is doing, where I'm going to give you this at a special price. It's going to be a special color that's only made for people that scan this thing, like we did with the Tom Cruise head, the not Tom Cruise head for PowerCon last year, right? If you ordered the aviators, then it was still a pre-order, so you knew you were pre-ordering it, but you were going to get something special for waiting, not being able to take it home with you.
Yep.
I don't want to buy a figure as a ShowCon exclusive, then have to wait a month for it to process through your warehouse, or 2 weeks, or whatever it is to ship it.
They should plan better and do it like they did at PowerCon, where you can place the order ahead of time and pick it up at PowerCon and have it in your hand there, because this goes to the value and the exclusivity of it. And an example is that Bone Collector at DFW a couple weeks ago, right? That figure had massive value because they could pick it up in hand, they can get it out, and it was up on eBay those nights, right? Like you saw it popping up on there.
Oh,
and again, limited runs, things like that, but it was readily available to anybody that could attend. It wasn't behind a paywall other than getting into the, the convention, and you got it at the convention. That stuff is cheesy, but that approach, the San Diego Comic-Con, if you think back the last few years with COVID and everything, Hasbro Pulse was doing it. The codes, the QR codes, the links were hitting the internet, quickly. and being released to people. So folks that weren't even at San Diego Comic-Con were able to place the orders for those exclusives. That's why people were able to get, was it like Dr. Mindbender and
Some of those people
Serpentor?
that weren't even at the show were getting them before the people that actually attended the show and did the scanning and everything. I mean,
Yeah, I did. I got it.
Yeah.
I got them both really early.
Yeah.
And that was huge for someone who wasn't attending San Diego Comic-Con, but those people that are going there now, this is going to limit it so that Hasbro Joe, that's
I don't know why companies do that nowadays, right? Like, I get it, like with what Delta 17 is doing, right? They made that exclusive figure for Joe Fest, and they're waiting like a month, and then they're going to put it up on their site, but it's only the leftovers, right? So if you didn't get it at the show, you have a chance to get it, but it's not like if you go here, you can get it, but if you go here also, you can get it, but if you go here, you can also get it. Like, kind of like what Bobby's doing, right? I get why he's doing it. There's purpose in his mind behind it, but still, if it's a con exclusive, it should be available at the con only, unless you have leftovers. And Delta 17 isn't doing other shows right now. So that's why, right? If they were doing Joe Fest this weekend and DFW next weekend, they would just carry that supply over and sell it at the next show, right?
Absolutely. But I mean, that adds the value, right? And what Bobby's doing, he's actually trying to nerf the value from the scalping side and take care of his loyal consumers, which I praise that. I respect it. I appreciate it as a buyer that I have a chance to get one. I don't care about the bloody variant. That's not important to me. I just want one of the ones with a cool ass helmet, and that's all I want. I just want the reissue of it, just because I want that style, and I want Bone Collector to have somebody that can be next to him to be his bodyguard, and that's the new Bone Collector. But like, the way I look at it is that you're going to see, I'm assuming you're going to see quite a bit of value on that Cobra Commander figure from San Diego Comic-Con, because they're locking down that convention figure, and you really do have to, from what I can tell, you're only going to be able to get it there unless they release it later, which then again, that'll nerf the value. So sell it while it's high.
The one thing that Hasbro does do, though, that I have to say, like, if they release the Serpentor with the Chariot, right? Now, if they were to release Serpentor again, they would just put him on a bubble card, maybe a vintage card, and change some of the stuff it came with. It might be the same actual figure, but it's going to be a different figure. Same with Mindbender, right? So maybe the Cobra Commander was once a man doesn't come with the snake piece that wraps around Roadblock or something like that, right? So
and I think that's a separate topic, right? Is convention exclusives, right? We can talk about that in more detail, but to me, just briefly, my opinion on that is very strong in that the convention exclusives should be, I'm okay with them being unique to the conventions. I prefer a way to get my hands on them as a completist of certain things, but I also respect the fact that it entices people to get to the convention, which then helps bring more attention to other independent creators. They're coming up vendors that may not have the platform to get in front of people because, Mythic Legions is there. Well, guess what? Dino Riders or AWOC or Savage Crucibles, they'll get eyes on them that they may not have gotten otherwise. So I understand, and I'm totally on board with those exclusive figures. And even if they lock them down to that, but if you are going to re-release it, don't re-release the exclusive exactly as it was on me. And, be straightforward with how you're going to approach it consistently. I think we lost you, Ed, or I lost myself. I'm not quite sure if it's on my end or yours. Folks, there he is. He's back. So, there's a lot of things that have added value. One of the big things is Transformers, Joe's, and we're talking retro, right? The newer modern stuff. You're going to get immediate gratification value on some hard to find items. Maybe, if you're on the West Coast and you get them before folks on the East Coast, and East Coast distribution sucks compared to the West Coast often, you might be able to, mark some things up and make some money. But the value is going to vary. You're going to see most of your value in that mint on box, mint on card, product from, retro stuff, truly retro like stuff.
And what's valuable as far as new product, of course, is never going to be the same as what's valuable as vintage product, right? Because people pay certain money for vintage stuff because of the quality of the if it's still in box, and the fact that it's 30 years old, 40 years old. So at that point, you're technically buying the value of an antique. You're not buying the value of a desirable toy that's new, right? Different type of value.
And there's another piece that goes into this, right? Is you have the action figure authentication process. You can go through that. I think there's the action figure
Authority.
Authority.
AFA.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so they'll do, their,
Yeah,
the
they'll
same thing as
grade it.
like PSG or PSA,
Yep.
Beckett, card grading and stuff you can do for toys. To me, that's if you're really into buying and trading high value collectibles, that's the route to go. And that adds a distinguishable amount of
Yeah,
value.
like
to
I
it.
mean, if
So-
you got a vintage one of the original 12 Star Wars figures or one of the first 13 GI Joes that was released on card, and you go get it valued because first of all they clean it, they secure it, and grade it, right? That's kind of a cool piece to have in your collection. But it's also done for people that like to trade and know what they're actually getting.
Yeah. And that's
Excuse me.
truly somebody who's just collecting as their collectors.
Right.
They're not playing with their plastic like a lot of the folks that we chat with in the community, taking them out, having a
Other
figure
than
on
that
their
Black
desk.
Knight guy who never takes any of his shit out of the box.
Right. Yeah.
He has a million excuses why, but we all know he's an in-box collector.
Right. He's one of those guys. We don't really hang
I
out
think
with
he just likes, I think he takes all of his boxes over to Ted and has Ted lick them, and then he just likes to keep that in his dungeon.
It's that Ted Lick seal.
Yeah. It's kind of like a fetish Black Knight has.
Yeah.
Real quick, do we know the full number of figures actually produced for any of these exclusives? I don't think most companies actually release that now. Some of them do if it's actually like a very limited run. Like they'll tell you, like Bobby's
Right,
Valor
Bobby's
Pink thing, right? It's 1 of 50, right? It's
or the Bone Collector exclusive variant. There's
Right.
only 100. I think that was the same thing with Pandora too. I don't know
Yep.
if the number was 100 or not, but
Yeah.
similarity. There's these smaller ones I've seen it, but the Comic Cons, things like that. Unless it's a numbered artifact, you're not seeing that. And
like Chad bought a whole ton of those Bone Collector because he used them on his giveaway for his 5,000 subs.
oh, did he?
And none of them were the bloody variant. So, and he bought a ton of them. So, I mean, your chances of getting one were,
That's
slim
cool.
and awesome, right? But
That's really cool. I didn't realize I wasn't able to catch it. I was out
Yeah.
on Saturday, so I didn't get a chance.
I was busy with the clubhouse too. So
Yeah.
and I was how else? I was on something else Saturday. I've been on YouTube so much this past week I don't even know anymore.
Right.
It's
So I mean, there's don't be the person that collects, from the Beanie Baby or the Pop Funkos.
Yeah.
We'll see that bubble burst at some point.
Yep.
There are going to be some things that have more collectible value, and it's going to be a risk every time, like I alluded to. Maybe that Iron Man from this most recent wave for the Kazar and the the Lion there. That maybe a lot of people didn't buy it, so it's floating around, and a few people grab it, and then some collectors that come in late end up really liking it.
Yeah. And the other thing is just like the budget topic we covered, right? If don't give in to the FOMO just because you think that it's going to have some kind of intrinsic value, 6 months from now or something, because everybody's screaming that it's going to. That's kind of what I was alluding to with the Toy Fair magazine, right? Oh, get the Ben Kenobi with the long saber tray, short saber, blah, 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 Han Solo with half circles on his gloves, blah, blah, blah. It's like, everybody's go, oh, I got to have that one. Well, those figures are just the same price as any other Power of the Force figure now, which is $5. It's probably less than what we paid in retail for them.
Yep. And then, I mean, the couple things, I just want to kind of call out, right, is that like if you are looking as a collector, like we'll say Black Knight does, he is an inbox collector that just collects for future value. We know that. So, assuming that to still be accurate, if you're one of those guys, make sure you do your research if you are collecting for market value and not personal value, right? Because those are two distinctly different things, though they may your personal value might be a significant market value, right? That may be the personal value that you find in something. So if that is the case, make sure that you're doing your research. There's a ton of sites. Action Figure 411, that one has a bunch of information, ties back into Amazon and eBay and a number of things to pull in the rates, and it'll show you what its most recent sales are, things like that. And Black Knight, it's not lies. We speak the truth, nothing but the truth. Just so
a lot of people don't know this, so I'm going to spill the beans. That Black Knight actually has a eBay account that he sells all of his unboxed figures on. It's called Bright Day. So if you go over to Bright Day on eBay, he sells all of Aaron's. That's where Aaron's selling all of his unopened toys at.
Yep. So. That's what I've heard too. He might change his name though, so keep your eye out for it. But if you're looking for market value, focus. Well, if you're looking at market value, narrow your collections down. It's very difficult to be a multi-line collector if you're trying to be, very
like Mezco's, right? Mezco just released that Snake Eyes. It was announced, released, sold out all within 15, 20 minutes at the most.
Yep.
And that's how most of Mezco's go. And if you miss out, you miss out. And they, some of them don't really increase in value, but like the first two Conan figures, they go for anywhere from $250 to $300 for a complete figure.
I didn't get those. I did get the new Conan one coming.
Me too.
King Conan coming at some point.
I got the new Conan because I missed out on the other two, and I refuse to pay that price for them. So.
Yeah, that's me. Yep. So make sure you're picking it out. If you're only collecting for,
it's like you said though, right? That was a good point. If you're collecting for the sake of having a valuable collection, right? You're going to be the guy that's going after something that's AFA graded or something that you're searching for. Like just to reference Bobby Vella once again, like he's got his whole original Star Wars collection, his whole vintage G.I. Joe collection. Yep. That one piece that he's missing might be more valuable to him than anybody else because it's the one piece that he needs for his collection, right?
Yep.
So, but that's something that he wanted to complete, something he loves. So that value is worth it to him. Whereas it might not be as important because somebody else, like, someone like Punk who has 9 shipwrecks might have got nine of those as a kid, never even give a shit about them. Right.
Right. Or he's someone who has the,
that's your wife, right, Travis?
Right. Yeah. You can go see her. Yeah. Or he could have like an affection. I'm probably using the wrong word here. A joy for just wanting a bunch of semen in his room. Yes. So, you could be Punk and want tons of semen, and that might be your passion. So maybe that's where his personal value is a ton of semen. On in his room, standing up on the shelf all night, from what I heard. But that said, kind of covers most of it. But before I go forward and we kind of close out this, toy value is what you decide it is. Toy value is what you make of it from a personal value for that toy. None of my toys, all my toys are out of box. They do get played with, so the value for market is probably not there on most of them. There are some Joes that are in, over there that maybe my Ultimates don't get played with. They go on the shelf. There may be some value to certain people, maybe the Cody Rhodes and stuff, things like that. I know the Logan Paul would probably be value to some people, but to me, the personal value is that I have it on my shelf and those are my collections. So as you're continuing to dive into your collections, decide what the value you want from your collection is. Is it a personal value to bring back the nostalgia of a childhood of toys that you played with, or a new line that inspires you and you're interested in? Or maybe it is the market value of being able to spend a couple dollars today that are going to be $12 tomorrow. But there's a lot of risk there.
It's like this guy right here, right? He was the Mezco Holiday Gomez that was released 2 years ago, and he didn't sell out right away. So I picked him up off of Mezco for $90. And if I go on a trip, he came with me to Joe Fest. He came with me last year to PowerCon. He goes everywhere with me, right? He's like,
I gotta find that figure. I gotta find a figure. Who am I bringing to Toronto? I gotta find one. I really have to think through this one.
You gotta take a buddy with you. But anyway, so like as far as a new figure goes, yes, he was an expensive figure, but as far as the value goes, as far as dollar signs, he doesn't mean anything, right? But to me, he's one of those figures that I just absolutely love, and I take with me everywhere because he's just, he's a cool dude.
Yeah,
he gets into trouble. He got arrested when we were at Joe Fest. First night we were there, he got arrested. There's photographic evidence on Instagram about that.
It was funny because I think he was standing right next to Punk, and he was still taller.
Yeah, exactly.
That said, for those that collect, determine the value that you want to have in your collection, because it couldn't be that market value. It could be your toy value, but there are many tools out there that you can use and leverage to determine the market value. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't bring you a personal value, maybe it's not.
I think you said it best maybe 5-6 shows ago. I don't remember what our topic was, but collect what you love, because that's where the real value is.
Absolutely. 100%. That said, Is there anything we need to highlight for the chat before I go into next week's topic?
No, everybody was saying hi to Tony. I brought it up, but we'll yell out to Tony. What's up, Tony?
Awesome.
Got to hang out with Tony at Joe Fest too. Really cool guy.
That's the
amazing.
cool punk, right?
That's the cool taller punk. Yep.
Yeah.
Tony does some amazing custom work, of course. So go give Tony a look at it on YouTube. If you like his stuff, give him a sub. But yeah. Other than that, a couple people said hi, and then of course Black Knight's crying about going to HR. But suck it up.
If he just opened up the damn plastic and let it breathe, we wouldn't have this issue, Aaron.
Yeah. I'm going to open it. I really am. Yep. When? Sunday after never.
Yeah, Sunday after he's done watching that Game of Thrones show or whatever. Probably.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah, who knows?
Exactly. All right, man.
That
Everybody,
said,
thank you for coming by. Thanks for hanging out with us. Next week, it'll be Ed
and Ted's Excellent
Adventure. So guest star next week is Ted Darklaw, the Ted Darklaw from Hella Dope Toys. Him and I will be discussing creating stop motion, shorts, funny videos, all that kind of fun stuff, and where the stories spew out of our crazy minds from or whatever. But other than that, Travis, you got anything coming up that you want to promote?
I do. I don't remember what it was.
Well,
but,
while you're waiting, Hella Dope Toys, 20% off Cosmic Legions. Go get yourself some.
Did I lose you?
No, I'm here.
I don't know if I lost you or you lost me, dude.
I don't know either because I can hear you talking. So
yeah, I think it was on my end that time because I may have been doing a little this. I did ask our buddy Ted to play this the other night on his show.
Oh yes,
he didn't. So I'm just gonna give a little preview. Little preview of a little song we put together for the toy boys over there at Hella Dope Toys.
And don't Google Toy Boys.
Yeah, no. You don't want to do that. No, I mean I don't know. I didn't
do not Google that. I'm sure that I don't know for a fact, but I can only imagine what would come up.
Yeah. So that said, this has been good. Next week we got Ed and Ted, Excellent Adventures. We got Ted stepping in for me next week, so we do appreciate that. As I will be journeying back and forth from the city, and having just finished up the trip out to Money in the Bank in Toronto. Looking forward to that this weekend. I'll probably be a little absent from the streams and such, so you may not see me in as many chats this week. But I want you guys all enjoy. Check Ed out. I'm sure he'll be over on Punk's channel moderating, random dioramas on Friday, the Hella Dope Boys on Sunday night. They have a show this week, right?
Yep. Saturday night Clubhouse.
Yep. And then you have, Clubhouse on Saturday. How could I forget? Sorry.
Right.
And then, Monday with Punk again, and then we'll be back here, but Ted will be sitting in my seat this week.
That's right.
I think I covered for him one time. So what better way to, have him cover here over on the ToyLeet. He's, they're members, right?
Just so everybody understands, I did not exclude Aaron from this. We had a plan, but Aaron's day job and life gets in the way. So it wasn't that we didn't like Black Knight. So I don't want him taking this to HR that we don't like him. He was asked for a different sit-in and he couldn't do it because of his schedule. So don't go crying to HR. We got that on tape.
Absolutely.
Cassette tape, maybe even 8-track tape.
So before we close out, I just want to say thank you to everyone who listened in live. I want to say thank you to everyone who follows up and listens to this later. Really appreciate everyone. One thing, if you enjoy the content, you enjoy chatting and being a part of the community here at ToyLeet, you want to share, like, subscribe, really appreciate it. We're at about 216 subs right now. See if we can push that number into the 300 mark somewhere. We're seeing a lot more increases on the rewatches on the live, so we really appreciate everything you guys are doing, and continue to support us. We're having a blast, so hopefully you guys are enjoying it too. And don't worry, it went in that box. It's a round circular box that's underneath my desk, Aaron. And I take it out once a week on Wednesdays so that the garbage truck picks it up. So yeah, submit it, I guess. That said, again, subscribe, like, we appreciate you guys. We will catch you next week if we don't see you sooner.
Hang out now, but remember this. Let your toys breathe, do this. Toys on the desk, it's the new habitat. ToyLeet Takeover, we're loving that. It's a stack high in the air where it's at. Everywhere's a playground for Mr. Wundrful. In the office, living room, let them breathe. Akxion Figs hit the trail through the mud and undersell. It's the ToyLeet life. Beyond the shelf we prepare. Figures and cents, the perfect place. With hacks and stacks, we own the space. From battle seeds to epic quests, our collection's always at its best.